It must feel great. I mean, I was looking at that, that video footage. Keeping to some of the greats in the game must have been one hell of an experience. We're talking about Bishan Singh Bedi and Chandrasekhar and Prasanna.
Well, indeed. First of all, I would like to thank the committee of CEAT International for having given me this honor on this very auspicious yearly awards celebrations. And I would like to congratulate all those winners for having won the awards which they richly deserve. And of course, well, it has been a long grind for me in climbing up the ladder of success. And well, there are ups and downs in everybody's walk of life, for sure, no two ways about it. Well, I accepted every bit of it and went on trying to do my best at all times. And of course, you did mention about the gloves. I must tell you, I must inform everybody out here who are present how I started wicket keeping. It was way back when I was probably 10 or 12 years old. When I was living in that extension in Bangalore, extension team was formed, and there were 3 sticks as stumps. Cork ball was bought by collecting funds from the quarters, etc. and etc. And those were the government quarters where my father lived as a government employee. And of course, the captain was the Dada at that time, the big guy who was very passionate about cricket. He formed the team and announced himself as the captain. And of course, I was the youngest in that lot. And who's going to stop the cork ball? Normally, it's a tendency, natural tendency that everybody throws their weight on the youngest fella. So I was there standing behind all these tall and big guys. They said, hey, go and stand behind. All right, thank you. So now how do I stop the cork ball? Most uneven ground, wouldn't call it a ground. Well, I looked left and right. Yaar, kaise main roko ye cork ball ko? So there was a heap of bricks. That looks good, so that I don't get injured. And I picked up the brick. I started stopping the cork ball. Now, how do I stop the leg side? I picked up 2 bricks. And that's how my wicket keeping started. And when I went into the school, St. Joseph's Indian High School, there was the junior cricket kit bag. And I was looking for the wicket keeping gloves without any inhibitions. So I saw those wicket keeping gloves looking better than the bricks. So bricks were my first gloves.
Okay. But you had soft hands.
Well, I don't know how soft they are. Somebody has to feel it. How was it? There you go. It can't be as soft as yours, nevertheless.
Yeah, but obviously you were outstanding in your career, 88 test matches, and you would have quite a few standing in the slip cordon with you. Tell us a bit about Mr. Gavaskar. He was your usual perpetual companion in the first slip.
Yeah.
Was he encouraging? Was he jovial? Was he intense?
No, we had some great time
on the field and off the field?
Yes, of course. I was. You were quicker on that, off the field stuff, Yeah. You were quicker there. Nevertheless, we definitely had some great time on the field, for sure. And he was the closest to me in the first slip. And we had some great jokes in between the drinks interval or in between a wicket which falls or all those things. And I have learned a great deal from Sunny. And our first meeting, first time when we met was during the Moinatullah, 1967, 68. right? When Nawab Pataudi, late Nawab Pataudi, used to lead the Colts, Wazir Sultan Colt, that Moinudullah was a big tournament. It was recognized as the first-class tournament in our time when we had started. So on those basis, at Fateh Maidan in Hyderabad, we shared the room together. So that was the first time when I had heard a great deal of Sunil Gavaskar, you know, a great talented opening batsman from Mumbai, playing for the Indian schools against Sri Lanka and England. I think you played against those teams, if my memory serves me right. Not many things stick on to this shining and slippery head, you know. They slip off very quickly, nevertheless. So on that count, that was my first meeting with him. And from there on, I was observing him very closely as to how, you know, he used to bat. Okay. He was a bundle of concentration and determination, you know. And it was a big pleasure also. I never got many opportunities playing alongside with him when he was at the other end. I can very distinctly remember the Madras Test against the West Indies where he got a double 100. And I happened to manage with a little bit of nudges here and there with this 75.
Oh, well done,
yeah,
well.
Right. And at that time, one incident also I would like to quote here, you know, when the West Indians, you know, they were pretty annoyed. I don't know on what reasons. Suddenly, Michael Holding bowled a beamer at me.
At you?
At me, while I was batting. You know, there was a kind of an appeal when I had just gone in and left the ball. It got my shirt and went to the keeper, and there was a big appeal, and the umpire very rightly said not out. So they were very crossed. So he bowled a beamer at me, and I fell down. And then, and he was the best friend amongst the West Indians to me, a very gentle gentleman cricketer, you know. So I just left the stumps and said, hey, come on, you take the stumps. If you want to take my wicket, there you are. You won't believe the second beamer aimed at me. You know, I again fell down, and that was the time when the captain declared the entire innings. These guys are getting a little nasty, you know. Let not any cricketer get injured. So that was one of the incidences which I enjoyed. Of course, under his captaincy, every bit of, we had some great times. Of course, you know, before the, one of the nice things which we always shared on the field, you know, when there was a little bit of a gap between the overs, he would come and put his hand over my shoulders and, Dek, stand mein, dek, wahan baithe hain.
इनको माइक दीजिए जरा थोड़ा सा इनको दीजिए जरा एक सेकंड या इनको माइक तो आप दीजिए जरा ये किन की बात कर रहे हैं
क्या you talking about me? Well, that's always good to have a little stress buster. So, you know, you look around.
Tell us a bit about his wicket keeping.
Outstanding. Yeah. Outstanding because, you know, he, as you said rightly, that for somebody to keep wickets to the four spinner, they were all different. The variety, Chandra had the bounce, Bishan had the flight, Guile, and Prasanna as well. I remember he, having been brought up in Bangalore, keeping wickets to Irapalli Prasanna, who turned the ball a great deal. And so when he was keeping wickets to Venkat, he used to struggle a little bit because Venki was not a big spinner of the ball. And there were a couple of missed opportunities, stumping and caught behind. And so Venki, I think, has been known to have a short fuse. So Venki would get pretty upset. And so every time you would have a go at him, he would say, but yes, you know, I'm used to keeping to the turning ball. So I'm not used to keeping to the straight delivery. So that was him. But his sense of humor was absolutely terrific. I guess you need a sense of humor when you're keeping wickets in hot conditions. You know, I mean, slip fielders, other fielders can relax. A wicketkeeper cannot. He's in action every single ball. So you need that kind of energy as well. And his sense of humor.
And also, that era produced a lot of great wicketkeepers. You know, and really you had to be on top of your game really to make a name for yourself. Because you're talking about Alan Knott, you're talking about Wasim Bari, we're talking about, Rodney Marsh. So there was a competition in that area. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of this wonderful evening. I wish to thank you all for being here tonight. It's been a sheer pleasure hosting this great event.